how to get whatever you want. I mean, that's a pretty big promise, right? But that's exactly what we're digging into in today's explainer.
And what if the secret to getting everything you want wasn't some long, complicated strategy, but just one single word?
Yep, the word is ask. I know, it sounds way too simple to be true, doesn't it? But what if mastering this one little art is the key to, well, everything? Let's break down why that might be.
So let's really get into this. Asking is so much more than just a word. It's a completely different way of looking at your life and your goals.
You know, most of us are taught to be good workers. We put our heads down, we do the job, and we kind of just hope someone notices. But here's the thing. That's only half the equation. You also have to be a good asker.
Okay, so how does this actually work in practice? I mean, in the real world? Well, it all comes down to what we're calling the rules of receiving. These are the core principles that make asking so unbelievably powerful.
And there are really just three simple rules to wrap your head around. First, asking is what kicks the whole thing off. Second, and this one is huge, receiving is actually automatic. And third, success, it isn't some limited resource. It's more like a giant ocean. Okay, let's dive into each one of these. So that first rule is super straightforward. Asking is basically like pushing a button. It just starts the process. You don't have to understand all the complicated machinery behind the scenes. You just need to know that pushing the button gets the job done. All right, now for this second rule. This one might actually mess with your head a little bit. See, the problem isn't our ability to receive things. That part's automatic. The real problem for most of us is that we just don't ask. This quote here just says it all. A guy who works hard every single day but has no written goals. A good worker, sure, but a poor asker. And that brings us to the third rule, which honestly might be the most freeing one of all. The idea here is that success isn't some kind of limited supply that's being rationed out. It's not a tiny pie where if someone gets a slice, there's less for you. No. It's an ocean of abundance. There is more than enough for everyone. And this ocean idea leads to a really powerful metaphor, right? If opportunity is this vast ocean, what are you bringing to the shore to collect it with? So many people show up with like a tiny teaspoon. They're limiting what they can even possibly receive from the get-go. The goal is to ditch that teaspoon, grab a massive bucket, and show up ready to receive all that abundance. Okay, so if we buy into these rules, the big question becomes, how do we actually do it? How do we become good askers? Well, this is where we get into the practical side of things, the art of asking. And it really boils down to two key methods. Now, they might sound like total opposites, but they're actually two sides of the very same coin. First, you have to ask with intelligence. And second, you have to ask with faith. Let's start with asking with intelligence. And look, this has nothing to do with your IQ. It's all about clarity. You have to be super specific. You can't just mumble your way to what you want. You have to be able to define exactly what it is. So what does that kind of clarity even look like? Well, it's asking yourself these kinds of questions. It's the difference between saying, I want a house, and defining its size, its color, the price, the move-in date. Don't just say you want to be successful. Define exactly what that success looks like in measurable terms. Think about it this way. Your goals, when they're really well defined, act like magnets. They just create this powerful pull that draws you and opportunities right toward them. And the more detail you add, the more specific you get, the stronger that magnetic pull becomes. Now for the second part of the equation, which feels like the total opposite, asking with faith. This is all about tapping into that kind of belief we all had when we were kids. You know, as adults, we're so skeptical. We have this I'll believe it when I see it attitude. But kids are the other way around. They believe it first, and then they see it. That's the mindset we need here. So we've covered the what and the how. Now it's time to actually put this stuff into action. And that brings us to a little something called the 90-day challenge. The challenge is incredibly simple. Just try this for 90 days. That's it. 3 months. If it doesn't work for you, fine. Go back to doing things the old way. But for just 90 days, commit to being a really good asker and just see what happens. And this is the formula that really ties it all together beautifully. Make plans like an adult and believe in them like a child. It's perfect, right? You use your adult intelligence to be super specific, strategic, and clear in your planning. But then you approach those plans with the absolute, unwavering faith of a kid who knows it's going to happen.
So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with the one question that this whole thing is really about. We know you're a good worker. You put in the hours, you do the job. But I want you to take a second and honestly ask yourself, are you a good asker? Because the answer to that question, well, it could change absolutely everything for you.